We're making cannolis today, and this is just an Italian specialty I love, but I have not mastered the recipe, so I'm excited to be using All Recipes, top-rated recipes for cannolis. We're making these cannolis from scratch, so I'm gonna start with the shells, but don't leave me just yet. You can buy your shells from the bakery. I've got a great filling too. So I'm gonna start with 3 cups of flour, and then a 1/4 cup of sugar, and a little bit of cinnamon. Just give that a little whisk. So I'm gonna cut in some shortening, and I'll get this dough nice and crumbly. You can use 2 forks. A pastry blender is just easier. I'm just gonna cut this in. It's just gonna look like crumbly flour. You're not gonna get like chunks of shortening. You're gonna think you need more, but trust the process. So once our flour is ready, I'm gonna make a well in it. Into the well goes our wet ingredients. Now what gives our cannolis that distinct flavor is Marsala wine. So you're gonna go in with about 1/2 cup of Marsala. A couple tablespoons of water, tablespoon of vinegar, 1 egg, and then 1 egg yolk. But save the white, because you're gonna need it later. And then you're just gonna kind of start to work it with a fork, working from the center, and then bring in all your flour, and then you're just going to kind of mix it together until a dough forms. Oh, you can really smell that Marsala. It's gonna be so good. All right, once it kind of comes together, we're gonna turn it onto a surface and finish the rest by hand. Add in a little flour or water as necessary, depending on how wet or dry your dough is. We're just gonna work this dough for several minutes until it is nice and smooth. If you are making your cannoli from scratch, you do need to invest in one special piece of equipment. While you do need a pasta maker, that's not it, because you could roll these out by hand. You need cannoli forms. You can get these at any kind of restaurant supply store, and they're not expensive. All right, and here's what you're looking for. It's nice and smooth, it's really elastic. And now we are going to wrap it in plastic, and it needs to chill for like 1 to 2 hours before we roll it out. While that chills, I'll clean up and we'll make our filling. You've heard me say the simplest things are the best things, and this filling is no exception. It only has 3 ingredients, an optional 4th if you want, but it starts with ricotta cheese. The key here is it has to be whole milk ricotta. Don't get the skim stuff. Sometimes the store-bought stuff is not as thick as the homemade stuff. So to make the store-bought stuff a little closer to homemade, I like to drain it really well just to get out any excess moisture, because I don't like my filling to be like super grainy and runny. I want it to be really thick and rich. So I've just got some paper towels. I'm gonna dump this out and kind of give it a little gentle squeeze. It's not gonna pour out and drip as if you were draining, frozen spinach or something, but you'll see it dampen the paper towel just enough to get all that excess out. Now you can see just how thick and creamy this is. And then the other 2 ingredients are just a little bit of powdered sugar and lemon zest. Give her a little taste. Kind of spot on. I might just add a little bit more powdered sugar. Well, and a little bit more lemon, because I just love this flavor. And then, not in the recipe, but I just feel like I have to, just a little pinch of salt. The optional 4th ingredient, if you want to, is you can add in some finely chopped or shaved chocolate into here. I'm gonna add a little bit of chocolate as more of a garnish, so I'm gonna leave it simple and fresh. There we go. To get the filling into our cannoli shells, we're going to need to pipe it in. No piping bag required. You can just use a large Ziploc bag. Throw all your filling in there, and then we'll just pipe it into our beautiful little shells. Filling done, we'll fry up our shells and fill them up. All right, the dough has chilled, so just like you would pasta, if you give it a little extra flour, it won't stick in the pasta machine. Just undo our dough. Okay, and then I'm gonna divide the dough into about 4 pieces or so, just to a more workable size. Okay, and then I'm gonna flour the piece, press it out a little bit, and it's ready for our machine. A lot of you have this, so instead of buying a whole separate pasta maker, you can just, buy the attachment. Again, if you don't have this, you can roll it out. You just wanna be able to roll these out as thin as you can. Get yourself a workable size piece and press it out thin so that it fits through. You're gonna have it on the widest setting to start. Then go to the next thinnest. If it starts getting too long, you can cut it into a more manageable size piece. All right, one more pass. This will be the thinnest setting. All right, then you're gonna take your flattened dough and you're gonna get yourself a cutter about 5 inches, or you can use a bowl or a cup, something that just has a wide circle. And you're going to create little thin circles. Start with your round, place down your mold, wrap the top edge over, add a little egg white from earlier, which is gonna be your glue, and then roll towards you. This is a labor of love, a little process. This is fun if you make an event out of it and you invite the family in. Now they are all ready for the fryer. The little flour that we dusted on before we roll them, that's gonna help them slide off after they fry. I've just got vegetable oil heating up. It's 375 degrees. We're just gonna lower these in about 2 to 3 minutes or until just they're golden brown and crispy. And then you wanna have a place for them to drain, ready to go. So I've just got a sheet tray lined with paper towels and a little cooling rack on top. This is what you want, these little kind of fluffy, bubbly bits. That's gonna tell you that it's light and airy. The moment of truth comes when it's time to remove the shells from the forms. You have to know that some are gonna break. That's fine. Those are the ones I snack on. So what you're gonna do is you're going to kind of slightly yet firmly grip the shell and then take the form and kind of twist it until it unlocks. Once you've kind of unlocked the form, you can just kind of twist it out. And our final step is to fill these beauties. So we've got our filling in our little piping bag. You're gonna snip off just enough of the corner. And then I like to go in through both ends because you're not gonna get it all the way through. So kind of fill halfway on one side, flip it over, and finish the other side. You can do the filling in advance, you can do the shells in advance. What I would not do is put them together too far in advance because over time, the filling mixed with the shell is gonna make it a little bit soggy. So I would fill them, a little closer to service time. You can tell these were not made in a factory because no two cannolis are alike. I'm kind of a plain Jane girl when it comes to my cannolis. I like it just like this. But if you want to add a little variety, you can garnish the ends. So popular additions at this point are to dip the ends in some little mini chocolate chips or some finely chopped pistachios. Yes, it takes a little bit of time, but you're saving a lot of money by making your own. I will say that. How cute do these look? Finish it off with a little powdered sugar and the taste test. I'm going au natural for the first one. That lemon, perfect. I get the burst of lemon and that sweet cream right off the bat. That pastry is really light and flaky. If you're feeling the need to channel your inner Italian grandmother or you're just looking for the perfect cannoli recipe, this is the one to try. Ciao. I hope we're playing Italian music at some point. Oh, mama. Oh,